The Jewish nation sent spies to scout out Eretz Israel, and they returned word and fearful. The spies exclaimed, "And we were like grasshoppers in our eyes, and so we were in their eyes." Rashi tells us that the spies were able to pick up on how they were perceived because they had overheard the inhabitants talking about ants in the vineyards that looked like men. Nevertheless, the verse seems to link the way that the spies viewed their own stature with how the inhabitants viewed it. Why should this be so? After all, the inhabitants were giants. So it makes sense that they would reach that conclusion irrespective of the thoughts or feelings of the spies. The spies made several mistakes when bringing back their report. Firstly, they spoke Lashon Hara against Eretz Yisrael. Moreover, they were lacking in faith and trust in Hashem. The Almighty had saved them from servitude in Egypt and performed countless miracles for them every day in the desert. Surely He would enable them to succeed in conquering the land's inhabitants. Still, the Torah is revealing that one of the biggest mistakes they made was not believing in themselves. When the verse says that they felt like grasshoppers, this was both in the physical and psychological sense. In their own eyes, they felt small and lowly. This lowliness, which ironically manifested itself in truly great people, was so profoundly palpable that even the giants noticed it. Others take cues from our actions and words. If one self-castigates and is constantly carrying around the depressing vibe, others might also take that to heart, albeit subtly, and begin thinking that way about him. This is the causal link that our verse is emphasizing. When the spies felt inferior, and not just physically smaller, they unwittingly led the giants to think of them that way. Lacking self-worth morphs our perspective and fools us into tearing ourselves down and thinking that we are menial insects amid giants. A good land flowing with milk and honey, given to us graciously by our Father in heaven, can appear like an ominous place that devours those who live there. It even causes us to downplay our spiritual greatness and positive character traits. Even though Hashem saved the nation from servitude and showered them with open miracles, it did not prevent the deleterious effect of low self-esteem from affecting them. In our time, low self-esteem is especially rampant. Arguably, this phenomenon is a byproduct of the very mistake that the spies made thousands of years ago, and it has been passed down from generation to generation. Unless we eradicate it from ourselves, we run the real risk of passing a lack of self-worth down to our children. To do our part, we must remind ourselves on a daily basis that we are deeply significant. We must actively choose to see ourselves as who we really are, spiritual giants with boundless, untapped potential. We should merit to see the greatness within ourselves and sincerely recognize our own inner worth.